Morning all, Saturday the 23rd of March, and it's time I did a shave test, which is what I do. I'm going to try a little bit of Cella Red, because it's quite a nice kind soap generally, incredibly reasonably priced. Almond oil, seems to be quite nice stuff actually. I'll just show you. There you go, Cella Red, very nice. Yeah, so I want to try, which is what I do, some different steels. I had two more lovely small blades, Swedish blades, come from James Sustainer Shaves, and I've only given them a very, very light stropping. They always pass HHT. James does a very, very good with work with his, I think he uses jnats mostly, but anyway, whatever he uses, he puts a very good edge. And I think it's very rude to not try someone else's edge. If someone sent you a razor in good condition and it's ready to shave with, you should try their edge, which is what I'd like to do. Anyway, I'll just slap on some of the old Cella Red and I'll explain what these steels are. I've also got, from about a month ago, I've dug out a little German razor with pretty scales. Unknown maker, just with guarantee Solingen stamped on the tang. Fairly good condition actually. Could have been better, but it's got 99% of its original blade. It's quite a deep hollow, so we'll try that. That was on a coticule that I put on, a coticule edge. Coticule edges are very strange sometimes. You go to do a hanging hair test and there's definitely a different sound and a different feel with the coticule on a hanging hair. I prefer normally not to use a coticule actually. I prefer to use a very high grit synthetic edge. But the coticule, when it's done properly, does give you a very kind edge. Anyway, do you know what? I think that's enough. Yeah, a little shout out as usual. I just saw a wonderful clip of long haul tanker Leon in his cab for once, and that was amazing. Sean Staplefield, very advanced now, I must admit. Sean is a magnificent specimen of shaverhood, and is doing incredibly well. I take my hat off to him. Right. Recently, these are what I'm. Oh, first of all, let me just introduce you to this fine fellow. This is what came the other day. This is a Nystrom from, of course, Eckelstone. This is a rather unusual, slightly different nose to this one, but almost a French point. But this is a hollow grind of a different type. This is a fairly stiff hollow grind. I'm going to try this one in the hopes that it'll blow away some of the others. So let's just try this Nystrom, and see how that feels. Yeah, it's quiet, as I suspected. It's got quite an interesting grind on it. It's probably what I term half hollow, but it's shaving beautifully. What a little laser. It's just a little bit more than 4/8, but it's not 5/8. Well, that's very nice. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's quite a surprise. When I say a surprise, James's edges are always good. No, I mean it's a surprise. The feel, different grind. Anyway, let's try that against this little fellow. This, of course, is a Mark 31 CV Helgestrand. And I've got to say, very nice condition, thin blade, small blade. Probably had a little bit of life to it, this one. It's probably been through a few dozen honings, but that's difficult to say. Hear the difference? Well, I can hear the difference. Oh, this is a deep hollow. Oh my goodness me, yes. Doing well. It actually has a different tone on the neck hair, which is always thicker for me. That's nice, nothing wrong with that. I do find I have to be a little more careful with a small blade. They are a little bit more, I don't know, twitchy, I suppose. Anyway, that's done very, very nicely. That's doing very, very well. Then, here's an interesting test. Aha! Bigger blade. This is the German that I mentioned. This has just got the guarantee Solingen on it. It has had, in its day, a little tiny bit of corrosion on the blade, but not on the edge. I'm going to just try this one on the remaining first pass. There's not much left. And then, on a second pass, I want to try something different again. Because what I do, Martin's shave tests are about testing. Let's just try. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's noisy. Yeah, that's quite a nice edge. That's the best so far. Although I've got to say that little Nystrom, if that's the correct pronunciation, was very nice. Yeah, I think this is a better size for me. So that's those three razors lightly tested. Here's my idea for today. Why not try against a top-end Chevette? This is a Feather Professional. I've used it, I think, maybe twice with the same, maybe 3 times with the same blade. Not as a full shave, just as a comparison. And it'll be very interesting to see on a second pass how this does. Notice the lather's getting a bit thick. Let's thin that down a bit for a second. Now, I'm not a great lover of these, what I would term Chevette quality Chevettes, but let's just see how it feels. Good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, this is my litmus test for other blades now. But draggy under the nose, isn't that interesting? But across the usual passes, I've got to say, very nice indeed. The only thing is, the feel is not as nice as a proper straight razor. This is the nearest you're going to get, chaps. And if you want to compare your straight razor edge to I'd say a top end edge, then this is a good way of doing it. Yeah, that's very, very nice. I have to admit, mind you, it's an expensive way to shave. Apart from the fact that they're about £100 to buy the actual feather itself, and then of course the blades in cassette form aren't cheap, but they are very, very, very good. And for travelling and for convenience, annoying, but yes, hasn't got the feel, certainly hasn't got the balance of a decent straight razor. It does a very good job. Rather annoying. Yeah. However, let's go back to something proper. Let's go back to this rather quiet Nystrom. It's quiet. It's the half hollow grind, and I was quite impressed with that. No, it's better. The Chevette is virtually effortless. It hasn't got the feel. For anybody that's just starting out on the wonderful field of endeavour, which is straight razor shaving, you need perhaps to have a Chevette as a comparison, especially when you're doing your own honing and you're maybe not quite that expert. Do you know what? James, you're absolutely right, matey. This is a little hand laser. Half hollow. I suspect on a jnat edge. And even on almost dry skin. They're still cutting well. But let's not do that. I'm always getting complaints from people saying, Martin, you're an imbecile. Why don't you use decent lava? Well, I seem to have developed over the last couple of years, fairly resistant skin. That's the other thing, chaps. When you're learning anything new, whether it's skating, whether it's shaving, you've got to give a certain amount of time to adapt. Adaptation, it's called. Let's just see if I can just touch on the sideburns. Touch under the chin. Don't get quite as much feedback from a stiffer blade. But by gum, doing a nice job. For those that have only ever used so-called safety razors, I have used them in the past. Can't say I've ever really liked them. This is a bias on my part. I do apologise for any bias, but it's the same with my skating. You see someone on quad skates and you think, that's nice, Charlie Chaplin. Whereas inline skates appear more difficult, but they're not. That's much the same with shaving. It would appear to a lot of people that a straight razor is dangerous. It's not. It just takes a little bit of learning, that's all. You build up your muscle memory and it becomes second nature. That's why I'm so grateful to see wonderful younger people, younger than me, that wouldn't be difficult, would it? Taking up this wonderful means of male shaving. And to see the progress that my good friend Jeff, who's quite near to me, he's in England, Jeff has done incredibly well. He's also now the proud owner of 2 high-grade Japanese strops. And although he is younger than me, the really remarkable is when someone of Sean's age group takes up shaving. And his learning ability is amazing. Yeah, he is now fully conversant with the art. I don't think once you get used to a decent straight razor, you can never go back to anything else. Anyway, that's enough from me. That's quite an interesting little test. Let me just show you what we did today. We have a half hollow, fairly rigid, small bladed Swedish Ekelstuna i Nystrom. We have a number 31, which of course is very famous. This is a CV Helger strand, Ekelstuna again, and this is the Mark 31. Beautiful looking little razor. Look at that, a little thumb notch underneath. Very, 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 very well made razor. This unknown little beast, well, it's not a little beast actually, it's a nearly a 6/8, not quite. Again though, German steel, very good quality, guarantee, whoever they are, guarantee is selling good. But that one I might try and put on a jnat edge, just as an experiment. And finally, as the sort of litmus test, we have this little fella, which is a feather professional. Anyway, that was a really nice, I was half asleep actually, and now I'm awake. So that's a very good way of waking up. I'm going to do the poor man's aftershave or post shave. If you've got a nice kind soak like this with the almond oil, and just splash a bit of this on your mush, I'm sure it has a good effect. Anyway, let me just wipe that off. Yeah, it has to me, a very neutral aroma. But then, I've been 50 years in engineering, my own particular peculiarity, and welding, acid etching, you name it, I've done it. And it's not very good for your nose. Anyway, that was rather nice. I'm going to put the alum on just to prove a point. Remember the golden rule with alum, though it's a test on your skin to see if you had a comfortable shave, do not touch alum covered fingers onto a nice steel blade. I don't think it will attack stainless, but it's murder on carbon steel. Yeah, tiny little sting. Not that I'd really, I'm not complaining. It's just that, you try all these different blades all at the same time. There's 4 different blades tried in one wonderful session. And I'm going to call that a day, chaps. I've wasted quite enough of your time. Anyway, as a passing thought, if you do buy a blade from someone who claims it to be shave ready, it usually is very shave ready. Give it a go before doing anything else to it. I'm very pleased with that. Yeah, perfect shave. Anyway, chaps, thanks for subscribing to my channel. All I do is test steel. Bye for now.